Welcome to Make Shit Happen. This is episode number 84. Our guest today is Dr. Tyra Jones. Tyra, thank you for coming over here, Dr. Tyra. I appreciate you taking the time, getting over here. So tell me, how are you doing today?
I am doing phenomenal, and thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I know you had a crazy day today.
I did. A positively crazy day, however. Had a lot of appointments that collided within each other, but I'm here. I'm just thankful that I'm here.
Listen, it's all about business. I understand that you're a businesswoman, and you told me before the interview that before you had your own business, you were a teacher. You were in education.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, tell us how did it go from you being a teacher? I mean, being a teacher is a great job. It's challenging, but it's a great job. I mean, you get 2.5, 3 months of vacation, paid vacation.
Right. Paid vacation.
And you go in business where you have to work nonstop and hope you'll get a vacation, especially in the first 5 to 7 years, of business. It's super hard. So
absolutely.
That was probably a rude awakening.
Well, I was well welcome. Entrepreneurship was well welcome for me. The 2 months off, that's a gift. That's okay. But, when you're passionate about what you do, every day is a vacation almost. It just, you feel like you're in a playpen every day, regardless of the challenges and the opportunities that you face. But in my background in education, I actually I started teaching actually out of just opportunity came my way right after college. And I just dove into that career and moved here to Texas in 99 and just continue teaching. I was actually commissioned to write a curriculum for a GED program. And that's what really started me thinking about setting something up for myself and pretty much copywriting what I created and, starting a business of my own. So that's what I did. And in that, I found that my students would come back and ask questions regarding the mathematical part, the financial literacy portion that I taught. And I was actually consulting them for their businesses. And being the fact that I had started my business, in doing that, I was actually located in a church here in Houston, actually offering the GED, and I started consulting. I set up an LLC to do that. So it just kind of snowballed into where we are today.
Okay, well, good. And then, so your company today is called JA Consulting and Corporate Tax Solution.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, and what do you do over there?
Well, we pretty much specialize in corporate tax. Of course, we specialize in a lot of funding, anything that has to do with financial services, financial planning, and funding. Our business credit product or service is our flagship service. Everything that we do is centered around business credit. When we file a corporation for a client, we make sure that the corporation has the necessary non-traditional data that's required down the line for funding. A lot of people, when they set up corporations, they just, they set it up and they put their personal information down there, not thinking about the long term in getting finance. So that's what we make sure that we do, even when we're structuring. And with that, we actually strategic plan with clients, for profit and nonprofits. We work with 14 different lenders to offer business lending, as well as we have a business credit program.
So what do you mean by business credit program?
Well, we actually wrote the curriculum. That's one of my gifts. I write curriculum. We actually tested and tried a process of obtaining business credit with any type of business, and we wrote the program to teach individuals what business credit is, how to use it, and how to grow a portfolio.
Yeah, because a lot of people, they don't know there's something called business credit.
Absolutely.
I mean, they just think that hey, when I have credit with the bank or I have personal credit. You mind expanding a little bit on business credit?
Absolutely. Yeah, and most people think it's just a credit card. Oh, I have a credit card in my business name. But a lot of times that doesn't mean that credit card is listed on your business credit profile. So, there's so many different types of credit to acquire. With business credit, we go through Dun & Bradstreet. They are a pay-to-play company. So when you actually ask for a profile, you actually have to pay Dun & Brad to set up that profile. Now, once that profile is set up, we go in as professionals, and we're so accustomed with working with Dun& Brad as well as our lenders, we can make sure that the business owners obtain Net 30 company references, as well as the line of credits, of course, that they're coming to us for initially. So we make sure that the strategy is there. Now, the next level strategy is creating that portfolio. We can create a $250,000 portfolio, $500,000 portfolio. We're even working with a lot of clients.
What does that mean, 250,000 portfolio?
Well, what that means is as you acquire business credit, every vendor gives you a certain credit limit. For example, a vendor may give you a $5,000 credit limit. Another vendor may give you a $20,000 credit limit. Another vendor may give you a $100,000 credit limit. But the portfolio, we're working with the lenders that actually lend cash to set kind of like a blanket line of credit that you can pull from. For example, if you're a real estate investor, you'll be able to pull from the portfolio in order to make purchases on properties that, you either want to flip or hold or rent or anything like that.
So now let me ask you, when you say, but you're talking about business and you're talking about vendor thing, the vendors usually work on Net 30, Net 60, and you said Net 30. You want to explain our listeners what Net 30, Net 60 is?
Absolutely. Net 30 companies are basically companies that will offer you credit and not force you to pay until maybe 30 days later. They'll offer you the equipment and or the service or the product, and you actually are using it in your business to generate revenue before you even make the payment, the cash payment to pay for that particular product.
So let's say if I have a makeup store and I want some makeup product from the wholesaler and I want to retail it, I can, if a wholesaler is giving me Net 30,
right?
So that's 30 days before I have to pay that makeup.
Absolutely.
Or if it's 60 days, Net 60, then
60.
So that's what it means, Net 30, Net 60. Right. A lot of people, who are not in business, who are not business savvy, they don't know that you only have 30 days to pay it off. So you better sell it in 30 days.
Right.
So you better show up to work every day and sell it.
Every day. And like we always tell our clients, we help them to manage it as well. We always tell them, hey, you're going to pay this off in 25 days. Because paying it off early is best, not waiting till that 30 day.
So if you pay it off in 25 days or if you pay it off late, what happened? People who report to Dun & Bradstreet, does that affect?
It absolutely does. There are 14 different scores on your business credit report, and all of those scores will be affected if you are late for a payment.
Okay.
And if you're in our program, we make sure that we help you manage your business credit history and make sure that we send you reminders and make sure that you make the payments on time or early, preferably early.
So, how does the credit score, business credit score, does it work exactly like the personal credit score, like 700, 800? Or
absolutely not. It's completely different. The range of score for business credit is from 0 to 100.
Okay.
And for example, if you
what is the best?
The best is 100. Of course, 0 is you don't have business credit yet, so you have to structure it. The difference with business credit and personal credit, you don't have to set up personal credit. Creditors, the government, they set it up as soon as you're born. You have your social security number. That's it. With business, you have your EIN, but you don't necessarily have business credit until you have a DUNS number. So once you acquire that DUNS number, which is free for you to acquire with Dun & Brad, then you can start setting up your business credit profile. Now, once you set that up, like I said before, Dun & Brad, you have to pay them in order to set that up. Once you do that, you control what vendors are on your business credit profile, unlike personal credit.
So if someone is listening to this and say, man, I don't even know if I have a credit, how do they find out what is their Dun & Bradstreet a credit, rating? How do they find out?
Oh, it's very easy. All you have to do is go to dunandbradstreet.com and type in your information. There's a link on there that says request DUNS number. If you don't think you have a DUNS number, you can request it. If you do have one and you don't know it, it'll show up.
Okay, it'll show up. It'll show up. So let's say for example, let me just let me just go ahead and repeat what you said. Let's say if I have a small restaurant, right, and now I want to get some product from the oil, for cooking oil, or maybe some beer from Silver Eagle Distributors, or
Right.
some food from Cisco Food. So if I have a Dun and Bradstreet number and if my credit is established, then those vendors will give me credit.
Yeah.
If someone does not have anything, if I'm opening up a new business, I can go to your company and you will help me set up some kind of portfolio that will help me establish some business credit.
Absolutely. And not only the portfolio, but we will help you find those vendors who will report to Dun & Brad on your behalf
Got you.
to increase that score really
So
quickly.
let's say I open up a restaurant called Sammy's Restaurant. Sammy Z's Restaurant and Margaritas.
All right.
I said margaritas because I love margaritas.
Absolutely.
So you say Sammy Z's Restaurant and Margaritas. Now Sammy Z don't have any, I go everywhere and nobody wants to give me credit. I come to Dr. Tyra Jones, say, Doctor, help me. You help me set it up. Or I go for I'm in business for 6, 8, 9, 10 months, find out, hey, I have no credit. Then now the only way I can have credit reported is I have to pay Dun & Bradstreet to set up some kind of credit.
Exactly.
And you do all that. So go to a professional, let the professional
professional
What
help
do you charge for something like that?
Our program is $3,450. In that program, not only do you get that business credit structuring, but you also get the training to learn how to structure the business credit yourself, because the end game is doing the same thing for another entity. That's the beauty of business credit. Not only can you do it for this LLC or this S corp, but you can turn around and do the same thing for another, And let's say that you have 4 corporations and you're growing it, each one to $250,000. That's $1 million in assets. Now you're talking about asset protection and protecting under trust.
So
and things of that sort.
$3,450, does that set up the corporation for me too?
Well, no.
No.
No,
Okay.
that does not set up the corporation.
So now let me ask you
Mm-hmm.
a question. Does your company specializes only in business or personal also?
Only in business.
Okay.
Now, on the personal side, we do offer a free service, actually. It's a personal credit counseling process. And basically, all we do is we show you how to get a membership with a credit monitoring service. And we basically show you the very thing that they're already advising you as to what you need to do to increase your credit score. We basically teach our clients how to read that and how to follow those instructions.
Now you told me a little while ago, when you set up these people with business credit or whatever, you always tell them, hey, pay your bill in 25 days
Right.
instead of 30, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And most people, they don't want to pay it off in 30. Business can be challenging, What is your philosophy about businesses making profit and then not overspending, keeping their, having a budget, keeping their, spending at a minimum? What is your philosophy? I just want to know, what is your personal philosophy?
Cash flow management. It's all about cash flow management. Everything that we do at JA is about cash flow. So if they are not, too savvy on paying their debt, or their bills or their overhead, then that's where we come in as well. We try to make sure that business owners are on top of this.
Yeah, I know, but my question is, maybe you didn't understand.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying what the services they all provide. I'm just saying, what is your personal philosophy about people? Why should they pay their bills on time?
Oh, absolutely.
How should they budget businesses? How should they keep their spending down? That's what my question is.
Oh, absolutely.
What is your personal philosophy on that?
Well, my personal philosophy is, number one, follow the system. Learn the system, because the system is definitely learning us. Learn the system of credit, learn the system of business credit, and follow it. My philosophy is really, you pay early so that you can get a better score. There's an algorithm to every activity that we do on our personal or business credit. Mm-hmm. And that algorithm, it goes into that calculation of that score that we want, that 850 that we want, or that 100 in business credit that we want. So what you do, your activity, my philosophy is to follow the system, follow exactly what, their system is asking you to do, especially as far as the tax code. The tax code is there for everyone to read and everyone to follow. It just depends on who wants to do, whatever they want to do. But, the system is there to follow. All we have to do is just make sure that we are good stewards of our monies and follow the system.
Why is it so important to, keep your credit good?
Oh yeah,
Why?
Fun because everybody needs money.
Okay.
Everybody needs money. Everybody needs, money is the tool that everybody needs to use in order to do anything in this country. So if money is the tool, then you need to learn how to use the tool. Well, we have systems in place that teach you how to use the tools. We have credit that actually leverages us from having to use the tangible tool. So you need to learn the credit system in order to be leveraged from that.
Because if you don't pay, you just don't get no more credit.
Exactly. You don't pay, you don't get any credit. You don't get any credit as a business owner.
You can't get ahead.
You may be out of business before you start.
Yeah, exactly. You can't
Right.
get ahead. I mean, just be out of business.
Exactly.
And so, there's a lot of people, and I'm sure you've been doing this for 15 years now. You've had to run into a lot of business owners that, as soon as they had three spectacular months, they're going out there buying Ferraris, Mercedes, Lambos, whatever. What do you say? Yachts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yachts, boats. What do you think about that?
I just say this, do it wisely. You can still do those things, but do it wisely. Why are you buying the yacht? Why are you buying the boat? And how are you buying it? How you buy it, it makes every bit of a difference, than more than why you're buying it. You're buying it to enjoy yourself. You're buying it to enjoy your family. Okay, that's fine. But how are you doing it? And how is it contributing to either your tax credits and how is it contributing to your overall bottom line? So my philosophy is just make sure that whatever it is, that it is a business expense and that you categorize it in such a way, or you purchase it in a way that would benefit you overall.
What about when business owners, they rob their bank? I'll say rob their business with cash flow to enjoy some stuff like that.
Well, the business would go down just as fast as they took the cash out. Yeah.
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 How have you seen that? And, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. I would say I haven't seen as much of that. Because the clients that we attract, they're pretty much those individuals who are just kind of at a loss. They know that there's a solution there, but they're just kind of at a loss as to, what they need to do. Now, we do have some individuals that have not become clients that, continue to attend our free events that we have every couple of weeks. And they're just watching, they're tire kickers. But I know that they're also spending very, habitually, frivolously, and they're not making good business decisions in terms of that.
Why is it so important for business owners to make good business decisions?
Well, in order to stay in business, number one, and number two, in order to grow. Because at some point, every business owner wants to, develop and grow to the where the business is moved away from them, because you get tired of being the only person doing everything all the time. Well, in order to do that, you have to put systems in place. Where in order to put systems in place, you have to hire more people. In order to hire more people, you need to make sure that you're not the only one training. You're not the only, you're not the go-to person all the time. So in order for your business to move away from yourself and to grow, you have to, follow some of these philosophies in order to make that happen.
One of your principles is rebuilding our finances and establishing, the second one is establishing a budget.
Right.
Would you like to expand on that?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Let's go on the budget first. Establishing a budget.
Okay. Absolutely. Now, every client, like when we initially talk to a client, we ask them, what's your budget? And if there's a hesitation or confusion there, it's like, okay, then I know that person really doesn't practice budgeting. Budgeting is important in everything, in terms of knowing, and what it means is knowing exactly how much money you have to spend for this particular category. So, for example, if it's entertainment, you need to know exactly how much you have to spend just for entertainment. If it's for growth, okay, you have X amount of dollars this year to spend on growing your business. That means that when you talk to different people who are offering services to grow your business, this is the budget that you have, so that you don't spend over, because if you spend over, your cash flow is diminished. So budgeting for everything, I believe, is necessary. Even just thinking about, well, I want to offer a different type of service. Well, what is the cost of training? What is the cost of bringing on that particular service? What is the cost of developing it? You need to know, that's the budget. You need to know the cost. And then after you know the cost, okay, now can you fit that in your budget? And if you can't, you need a timeline as to when you can fit it into your budget.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. You also talk about creating a plan to get out of debt.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. Expand on that for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, a lot of these philosophies I've been through myself, and which is the reason why we have, these offerings.
Share your personal with us, and then let's talk about what do you mean?
Well, I mean, just in general, debt can be, okay, we have a mortgage, or debt can be, we have student loans, whatever that debt is, a car note, whatever that debt is, we have to look at it. How can we get out of it? Because everybody wants to get in it, to have the materialistic things that they want. But then after we have it, now we're trying to get out of it without a strategy. So the key is to have a strategy, especially as a business owner. If you have some personal, a debt, have a strategy to figure out how can you get through that. Well, with business owners, the government gives us so many deductions on our personal side, because we're using our cars for business uses. We're using, our space in our home, for business purposes. We're using our cell phone for business purposes. So why not include that in the expenses of your business as opposed to your personal? It's just budgeting and making sure that you actually take advantage of, the opportunities that there are for businesses, for business owners. So for the most part, we have, we have a philosophy of just making sure that all of your business activities and all of your personal activities make sense. Not so much as, getting out of debt, because a lot of people, and I was talking to somebody yesterday and they were saying, well, I don't want to be in debt when we were talking about lending. It's like, well, you have to understand what debt is. Debt is when you can't afford to pay it back. That's what I consider debt. Debt is when you can't afford to pay it back. But what if you can afford to pay it back? It's an opportunity. It's not so much as a negative, in terms of debt. It's a positive debt, but it's an opportunity for you to create a strategy to use it to leverage from.
Yeah, but so not just don't over leverage yourself.
Don't over leverage yourself. Yeah.
You said on in your bio, you said that you believe that if we know a way out, we can equip ourselves with the strategy to learn the system. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think that we are in this country. I think that we just don't see the opportunity right in front of us. There are so many opportunities to learn, just like with personal credit. Mm-hmm. There's so many opportunities to learn about personal credit. The only reason why we don't is because we feel that we don't have time, or we feel that we don't want to make time, or don't have the intellect to do it. But these systems that are in place in this country, they give us the instructions. It's like, even for your credit monitoring service. If you log into your credit monitoring service, they're going to give you the 1, 2, 3 ABC of how to increase your credit. And they'll even tell you what score it's going to be at if you follow this instruction. And it's plain. Mm-hmm. It's really plain in black and white. The same thing with business credit. Everything I believe in business is documented, and the instruction manual is there. It's just up to us to take the time to learn it and to understand, where does it fit in my life? Where does it fit in my business? And how can I overcome some of the challenges that I have personally as well as business? And how can I integrate some of those challenges and overcome, whatever issues that I may have? For example, the tax code. I don't know many people who would do this, but I don't think you could download it. You have to pay for the actual tax code, but it's a thick book. But take time, maybe invest in it. It's a business expense, and learn it. Not learn all of it. You won't learn all of it, but learn what would make you better tax wise. What type of activities, what do I need to do to mitigate some tax risks? What do I need to do to get some tax credits that I'm missing? Just simple opportunities like that. And most people would find that how they structure themselves is really, where they're losing the money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, you talk about asset protection,
Right.
why a lot of people, when they start business, they just do under DBA or anything. You think
Right.
that's
Oh
a very
my
negative,
gosh.
right? And so tell us a little bit about that.
I remember a long time ago when I first started my business, I was under a DBA.
Mhm.
I thought I had done something like extravagant until I realized, oh my goodness, I need an LLC. And then when I realized, in order to truly play, be in the game of taking advantage of these tax credits, I have to be a corporation, And in asset protection, we're mainly talking about not only setting up that corporation, the LLC, the S Corp, C Corp, but doing it in a strategic way, depending on, your process of business that will protect your assets. For example, we just brought on a client and we are giving advice on his intellectual property, versus the offerings that he have in his business. Well, the intellectual property or the assets that appreciate need to be under a separate corporation, because you don't want your clients and or your employees under the same corporation that you have your intellectual properties. Or, for example, your real estate. And if you're a landlord, you don't want your assets under the same corporation that you actually use to lease space or rent space. So that type of asset protection is necessary in order to protect the business in order for it to grow, because at some point we know that we want to pass it on to our family and or maybe even a business partner
Or sell it.
or sell it. And a lot of people found that when you get ready to even sell it, you don't have any value because you didn't build it. You didn't build the corporation. You didn't protect the assets. So you really, when you do a valuation on your business, you really don't understand that what you did in the beginning has everything to do with how much money you can get in the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Someone said ignorance is a bliss,
Yeah.
and a lot of time business owners, and they just know, hey, listen, I know I want to make something happen, and I show up to work every day. And there's business owners who bleed in their business. I mean, they live their business, right?
Yeah.
And they show up in the morning, they work all the way till night, and they don't have time to understand the tax code, and they don't have time to, some of them working 6-7 days a week. But not knowing what you can do and how to build your business is a big deal.
It is.
And I mean, lack of education, it can be something big.
Exactly.
I know you hold webinars and workshops, but besides you, what else should people do to educate themselves?
Oh man.
Besides what you do?
Yeah. I have a subscription to Audible. And right now I have 7 credits and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm behind. I need to get my book of the month. Now I'm reading a book. Every business owner needs to be reading, whether that's on Audible, where, you're in your car, have your Drive Time University going. And then the types of books that you listen to are books that relate to things that that you're weak in. For example, if you're weak in taking care of the taxes and the structuring of your business, listen to books that focus on that. One book I recommend, I keep going back to this one. I can't remember his name, but he is Robert Kiyosaki's tax advisor, and he's branded his CPA work and everything under the umbrella of Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Right. And I listen to his audio often, very, very often. And so books like that relate to not only your business, but also relate to some things that you may be lacking.
Gives you knowledge.
Gives you knowledge.
Learn this up.
Yeah. And that way you don't feel so uncomfortable when someone like myself is coming to ask you a question about your structure, or are you taking advantage of all 5 tax credits, or, how do you mitigate the issues that you're dealing with during COVID?
Right.
Yeah.
I had a guest a couple of episodes ago. I can't remember his first name. Jack Abood. I can't remember his first name. Right, George Abood, and he has also something that they help companies with corporate tax solutions and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And what he said, like, people hire CPA, and CPA's goal is different than a tax solution company.
Absolutely.
CPA's solution is short term, save you tax this year. Tax solution company is different. I mean,
It's
want to
long-term.
set you up for entirety of your business, or for as long as the tax code
That's right.
permits or allows it. And a lot of people don't understand that. They just say, oh, well, I got a CPA who does my taxes and I'm done. I mean,
They
I'm
do.
probably guilty of the same thing. But if you're going to be in business and you want to pay less taxes, that's what you need to do. I mean, heck, they talk about it every day on TV right now, how President Trump haven't paid taxes. I mean, he just got good
Exactly.
corporate tax solution
He
people.
has great corporate tax solutions people.
Yeah. So, I mean, people shouldn't be mad at that. I mean, don't be mad. Get even.
Right, exactly.
And you can't get
Exactly.
even if someone told me a long time ago, if you want to be in business, you need a good tax person, you need a good accountant, and you need a good lawyer.
Right.
They didn't tell me you need a good accountant and a good lawyer. They said you need a good
right.
tax person, a good accountant, and a good lawyer. Okay,
That's
three different
right.
things. So, tax person is like either tax attorney, a company that works for a tax solution,
Right.
works with attorneys, a accountant, a CPA firm, and then a lawyer. Three different
Exactly.
things, three different branches, and I mean that's something that every business needs. And I mean, if
Absolutely.
that's somebody listening and they're like, oh, it's okay, I have my CPA, take care of everything. Well, CPA doesn't take care of everything. Payroll taxes is a real thing.
Right. Exactly.
Franchise tax is a real thing.
That's right.
Corporate tax is a real thing. So, I definitely recommend also with Dr. Tyra Jones, educate yourself, read books, learn something.
Absolutely. And
Ignorance
even in
is
that
really
regard,
bliss.
I would like to piggyback off of what you just said, because even on our website, we say that, and we actually do, we work with their CPAs. Like when we bring on clients,
Yeah.
we ask them, who's your CPA, and whatever recommendations that we suggest, we connect with their CPA and or accountant to make sure that happens. Like for one gentleman, he said, well, he doesn't need us to file his corporation. His
Yeah.
CPA is going to do that. Great. When your CPA finishes that, make sure that he gets in contact with us. And then we had to make sure that when he filed that he filed it in a certain way, because down the line, like I said before, there's funding coming. So yeah, we work with CPAs. We actually have an in-house CPA as well. So we work hand in hand with those individuals.
So
as
when you
well.
say funding coming, what does that mean?
Oh, funding coming. Yes. Funding is always coming.
So I know big part of your business is funding.
Right.
So when you say funding, basically get the loans for businesses who might need loans or funds to
Right.
to borrow against to borrow for their
Right.
business, to grow their business or
Right.
stuff like that.
Well,
Am I
not
correct?
only just loans. Yes, absolutely. Not only just loans. We do what we call a survey on the business. Like, for example, when we bring on a client, we conduct what we call a survey analysis. That survey analysis is a bunch of open-ended qualifying questions that one of our analysts perform. And it takes about a couple of days for them to do that, because they go through the entire operation of the business, including acquiring the financial statements of the business. After that analysis is complete, we go over that analysis with the business owner, and we show them the shortfalls on where they're missing revenue. So the revenue may not necessarily come from loans, but the revenue may actually come from inside the operations, where we show them where if you change this and you do this, you'll capture about $10,000 to $15,000 monthly.
Gotcha.
And our analysis shows that. And it gives a 1-year projection, a 3-year projection, and a 5-year projection.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Dr. Tyra Jones, if there's something, an advice you can give to somebody who's starting their business or somebody who's been in business for a couple of years, what will be that advice?
Oh, my advice would be to, if you're just starting, don't think that you can just file your corporation yourself. I was literally on social media late last night, and there was a conversation about this. Get a professional, not only who can, file it, but who can give you advice as far as funding, because, you're starting a business to make money. That's the whole purpose. Make sure that you're getting advice from someone who understands business funding, not just loans and things of that sort, but just business funding in general.
Gotcha. We are coming towards the end of our show, and I ask all my guests this question. Let's say if today was the end of the world, right? And everything is gone, everything you've written, all the curriculums, everything, all the recordings ever made, any videos you have made, anything you've written, any future books you might write, everything is gone. You have a piece of pen and a piece of paper and a pen, and someone tells you write 3 things. It can be how to live your life, how to lead your life, anything, future message for your kids, your grandkids, your future generation, whatever, or the world. What 3 things would you say?
There could be 3 things. It doesn't matter how long, right?
It doesn't matter what it is. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be business related. It can be how to live your life. It can be anything.
Right. Yeah. Well, first it would be business related. I would tell them how to do it right the first time. Because as business owners, anytime you've been in business for over 10 years, you've done something, you made a lot of mistakes, but you failing forward, like John C. Maxwell says. So with that, if everything is gone, no recordings, no notes or anything, I would leave a blueprint of what the opportunities that I found and what I was able to accomplish and what I wasn't able to accomplish. I would also, I would say some personal things in terms of my kids know that about, relationships.
So is that your number 2, relationships?
Yep, number 2
so tell me about
relationships. Well, relationships, I think that you really have to understand who you are first. You have to understand who you are first in order to find someone who can accommodate or stand side by side you in any endeavor. Because when I was married, my ex, he didn't want me in business. He was like, "Why are you doing that? Well, I don't understand that." So in relationships, and even in business relationship, you definitely need to make sure that you're partnering with someone who understands themselves as well as you understand who you are, so that you can attract that law of attraction. You can attract that person who would, feed or help you grow into, the person or the entity that you are trying to be.
All right.
Yeah.
Number 3.
The third one, what would I say the third one would be? Eat healthy. Stay healthy.
I like that. Eat healthy. Okay.
Eat healthy, stay healthy. Over the last, I would say, 2 years. 2 years ago, my daughter had to become vegan to mitigate some issues she had. She has epilepsy, and the medication was not working. It was, she was having 2 seizures a month.
Wow.
And we decided to go to a holistic doctor, and she was just missing a whole bunch of minerals and vitamins in her body. And ever since then, now she's the most she's went without a seizure is 5 months without a seizure. And so I would
say
changed
her diet completely.
Completely changed her diet.
She's vegan or plant-based?
She's a vegan now.
Okay.
She's a vegan now. Now I tried to join her, but I learned that I am a pescatarian because I can't give up the fish.
Okay.
But I even feel different. I feel more energetic. You feel a little lighter. So I would definitely say, eat healthy, exercise, stay healthy, because at the end of the day, all of the number 1 and 2 won't work if number 3 is not taken care of.
Yeah, if there's no life, there's nothing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time, coming over here. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with my listeners, with the audience. And I'm sure everyone will appreciate it as much as I did. And thank you for sharing these 3 3 things that is important to you. So, and I love eat healthy, stay healthy, and health as well.
Yes, it is.
Health as well. Thank you so much, Dr. Tyra Jones. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Thank you for listening to the show.
All right.
And